Hey everyone, I want to offer just a couple quick thoughts in response to the parable of the tenants from Luke chapter 20. So if you haven't already read this passage from our reading plan, I'd encourage you pause the video, take a couple minutes, go and read that passage, and then come back here. So I want to look at what this parable communicates about who God is. Not just a life lesson for how we should respond, but there's deep theological truth about who the Lord is from this passage. So to start with, that the parallel character to the Lord is the owner of the vineyard who plants the vineyard, he rents it, and goes away for a long time. Now, when he starts to send servants to collect the fruit, the farmers respond with disrespect and violence, and they send them away. Now, I'm trying to imagine how they may view the owner at this point in the story. The owner's been away for a long time. So the farmers, I think, would easily start to see the vineyard as their own. They're the ones putting in the work. What right does this owner have to come and take the fruit of our work? Right? And so as they make the owner their enemy, they I think start to kind of justify their reasons. I think there's reason to look on him and feel justified in responding with violence and defensiveness. So they sort of escalate their disrespect and the shame in their response. The first servant they beat and send away empty-handed. The second servant they also beat and treated shamefully and send away empty-handed. Still a third, they wounded him and threw him out. So now here comes the owner's response, and he wonders, what shall I do? He says, I will send my son whom I love. Perhaps they will respect him. I think this is such an interesting response because clearly, the farmers have shown they don't respect the owner. They've made that abundantly clear. The rejection of the servants is not just about them, it's a rejection of the owner. So why would he think that sending his son, they'll respect him? We look in this and think, well, it's obvious they don't respect you. They'll kill, your son. But here's the hopefulness that the owner responds in. I don't think he's hoping that all of a sudden they'll respect his status. I think he's hoping they'll respect this beautiful response of vulnerability. Right? Instead of responding in anger that would have been justified, he could have sent armies or officials to come in and take back what's his. But instead, he sent his son, something he loved, opened it up to them. Right? I think this is a response not only of grace and vulnerability, but of hope, of actually calling the farmers back into a sense of respect and honor, that they would honor his sacrifice. Now, I think this is so important in our view of God as well in our lives. This is how he responds to us. Obviously, he did send his own son, and he responds to us not with the anger that he would be justified in, but with vulnerability. And I think longing for us to see his sacrifice, see his vulnerability, and to respond likewise in our hearts, to lay aside our anger, our false views of him, and to respond in humility and grace the way he does to us. So I'd encourage you, consider how you may be viewing the Lord. Consider if there are ways where you may not be seeing him right. Consider his sacrifice for you, his vulnerability, and then consider your response. Would you let that sacrifice shape your heart and call you into deeper relationship with him, deeper grace, and deeper understanding of his goodness?